welcome to my channel. I'm kitting up. This is probably going to be this week's WiPnChat. So grab your drinks, grab your work, and keep me company, or I'll keep you company, whichever works for you. Alright, I've got my stickers which I've just cut up. I've got my sticky tweezers. I have these tweezers purely for sticky work, because they've got tack on them. They don't tend to play nice when you don't want something that's going to stick to them. So yes, I've cut up my stickers. How am I going to do this? Probably need to find a better way than twisting around. These are from the DAC sticker for Galaxy. If you hadn't already guessed, that is Galaxy. My purple chick from Erica the Goober. I'm going to put the stickers on first, and then I'm going to put the drills into. So these are going to be haphazard all over the place, and we'll just muddle along as we go. Alright. It is Sunday here. It's a long weekend. It's not a long weekend Australia-wide. It is the Queen's birthday, and I think it's her birthday on the 10th of June, which is also my daughter's birthday. But we have a long weekend, I think on the first weekend, like the first day of the week with the 10th in it, something like that. Or maybe it's just the second Sunday of the month. Yeah. I can't keep track. Either way, somebody who has more than one birthday is just not fair. Queensland and I'm not sure what other state do not celebrate it, but I know Queensland do not, because I have been chatting with a friend who doesn't have this Monday off. Mind you, she's not feeling well, and that's a whole different kettle of fish in this new day and age. I have now had 2 people in the office off sick, getting tested for COVID, but of course they're negatives because we actually don't have any community transmissions here. But when you go off with a cold or a sniffle, that's what happens. There were a few stories to be told about one of them, but anyway, inter-office, I don't know, is it inter-office bitching or something? Did my head in. Yes, stories for another day, I suppose. What is happening? You guys in the States have been facing a hell of a week this last week. It is spreading around the world. We have had marches here in Australia. The Australians have kind of, from what I've seen on the media, the Australians have taken it as their Aboriginal Black Lives Matter, because there are a certain amount of Aboriginals who will die in custody, not do well when they're in custody, all of that kind of thing. Somebody else put a notice up on their Facebook page of some statistics, and we in Tasmania have not had a death in custody in the prison system. Which is interesting. And then there's the whole discrepancies between the heritage or actual current tribe practicing Aboriginal. We don't have any current tribe practicing, but we do have people who will say that they are Aboriginal heritage going back 8 generations or whatever it is, because they were pretty much killed out from the get-go here in Tasmania. Yes, not so nice a thing. So it's kind of been stolen, sort of. But look, they certainly have been marginalised in it as a community. They don't necessarily do themselves any favours when... okay, they might have been grounded in their communities and told you can't do the roaming that you used to be able to do, but then to just, I suppose, get lost and go into the bottle, it probably doesn't help their cause either. That says 7, and look, I left drills behind. Right, that would explain that. That came out of a different kit with, I need little Ziploc bags. Okay, what I'm gonna do is do this. Cheating, I know. I will deal with it later. And I found out in work on Friday that there have been 5 different Australia Days. The current Australia Day being only in place since 1994. Yet we will have people saying it's Invasion Day and all that kind of thing, when I wonder what the excuses were, and this is what was said. What were the excuses made for the other dates being an issue? So yeah, interesting how the truth gets in the way of a story, I think. And I think in some ways, and I don't mean to put down anything here, but the truth has gotten in the way of the story here with the rioting and everything else, because actually, and this is the power, I think, of social media. And look, I know I'm saying what I'm reading. I'm not saying it's true, I'm just saying what I'm reading. Somebody had posted a thing up about George Floyd saying, and this seemed to kind of exonerate the police officer from their actions and say that they were justified almost. That's all kinds of wrong in itself. But they were basically saying that George Floyd had a rap sheet, he had known violence in his past, known to have firearms or something, or I think he's perpetrated robbery or something, and all this kind of stuff that made it almost justify that the police used excessive force. But that still doesn't justify the fact that the police officer did not do as he was trained, did not train his 2 rookies under him apparently to do anything other than stand by and watch this protracted incident of positional asphyxiation. Pinning anybody down with your knee on their neck is bad news, period. That's the simple thing. And somebody else had said on social media that the peaceful protests started on kind of like day 1, and then the looting and the rioting started on, say, day 2, 3, and then that stopped, and now it's the peaceful protesting again, and the rioting and looting has stopped. But that hasn't been portrayed in the media, so, you know, it's the media spinning whatever it is, and that's fair enough. Media spins all the damn time, and media will try and slant whatever they need to. And then somebody else was posting a meme about Hillary Clinton, her emails, something or other. She's now got to give evidence in September, and Obama Gate, although the meme actually was spelt wrong, but anyway. The Obama Gate thing is happening, whatever the hell that is, and there was something else as well about Obama or Joe Biden or something, and it was just like, yeah, you missed all of that, didn't you? And it's just like, there's somebody seems to be unhappy somewhere. And no, we don't necessarily get the true story. I think that's the long and the short of it. We don't get the true story. We've got stories from World War II, saying that Auschwitz never happened, that the Holocaust never happened, and they're trying to write it out of history. We're going to get people who just want to put their own twist on history, current or otherwise, for whatever reason that they do it. I don't quite know what the aim is. It's weird, because we've been watching, I guess, history in the making, and yet we aren't even getting the real story ourselves in it. I don't know how, in the current climate, when you've got so many different things screaming for attention, how anyone can pick the truth out anymore. I know we've had people worried with looting in their neighbourhoods. You know, diamond painters, community people, saying that this is happening, you know, blocks away from where they live and stuff. That's what we care about. That's what we want to know. Are the people that we know safe? A family in the community just today, I think, lost their dad, or yesterday in the States. As in anyway. A couple of days ago for you guys. You know, they lost their dad, and, you know, things like that spin us all out of whack. That's what really hits home, I think. Yeah. Alright. On another note, less maybe depressing for you guys, because it's a little less close to home. My car broke again. The last time it broke this way was 5 years ago when I met my husband. We were meeting each other on our very first date, and I had parked the car nose into the curb, and when I went to drive away, it wouldn't go into reverse. I'm thinking, what the hell? So I asked him to come back and give me a hand to push it back onto the road, and I'd figure it out in the morning. It was, I don't know, 10:30 at night or something. And he came back, and he nearly killed himself trying to push a 1.5 ton Jeep up a very slight incline, but there was a little lip at the top of the incline, and anyway, we got it over this little lip without any other help. We probably could have called other bystanders in to help. Anyway, my knight in shining armour, as he turned out. And I drove home, nervous as all hell, even though you rarely use reverse. It was like, how am I going to get this car home, to be able to turn it, to be able to drive out the next day? And I had to think through the whole, okay, well, I don't need to usually reverse when I'm driving forward home, so I should be right to drive. I tell you, it was a nerve-wracking drive. And then when I got home, I normally drive nose into our garage, and this time I went forward and swung it backwards on gravity alone to be able to point out so I could drive straight out in the morning to take to the workshop. So this week he gives me a message saying, can't get Norbert out of reverse. Or sorry, into reverse. I'm thinking, oh fuck, where is he? Is he parked in such a place that he's stuck and can't get out of it? And didn't hear anything from him for a little while. Anyway, he got himself home, and we normally park... Oh, you were already home. We normally park reverse into the driveway so that we just drive straight out of the driveway. It's always good actual practice to drive reverse in so that you can do a fast getaway. In any situation, car parks or anything, if you can park in a way that you can drive straight out, it's good practice from a safety point of view. So we... Sorry? Yeah, and particularly for roll starting. So he messages me and he picks me up after work, and we go into the garage showroom thingy service centre that is the one of, I thought, only service centre for Jeep in Tasmania and Hobart. And I'm talking with the new old guy who's now taking or not taking cars in as it is. And we're fobbed off from the get-go, and he goes, "No, don't have any spare cars that I can give you." And then he looks it up to book it in, and he goes, "Yeah, can't book it in until the 17th. And I'm going, this car doesn't have reverse. You're expecting me to drive this for the next 15 days without reverse. If I'm caught, the car is going to be defected and I'm going to have it forcibly taken off the road." Not impressed. And this is the same crowd who thought there's nothing wrong with the master brake cylinder and we were right to drive the car, nothing would be wrong with the brakes whatsoever. So I ring up the booking centre as I leave, fuming with this shower of shit from this service centre, and call the other number, and the chick there says, "Look, we can't fit you in until that date either, and there is only one other place that might be able to work for you." So I rang up this other place and I booked the car in, and instead of being the 17th, it's Friday, 2 days ago. So Friday the 5th. So we're driving for 2 days instead of 2 weeks. And that's all good-ish. You know, we carefully plan the route. We carefully plan if we had to park to go to the shop. That we're in a drive-through, you know, two-facing thing. Right, getting my bin ready. And that's all okay. We nurse it through until the Friday, and I drive the kid to school and drive the car up in such a way that, well, Google tries to send me through the back door, which doesn't exist, through a little laneway that isn't matched. I've got to fix Google. And come on, get out. I drop it in and I say to the guy, I said, you know, we were told this was the issue, and we were also told by this crowd about the master brake cylinder. And he starts asking me about the master brake cylinder, and I say, well, this is the story. My husband puts his foot on the brake and the brake disappears under his foot. Just sinks away from him. And he goes, yeah, it's the master brake cylinder seals. They're gone. Because they're the, you know, it's all the one unit kind of thing. Well, the shower who were supposed to be fixing the master brake cylinder, who we think actually stuffed it up even more, in that debacle, one of the mechanics almost let slip that they don't flush the brakes each and every time they do a brake change, or whatever it was, wheels off, or whatever it needed to be. He acknowledged that they didn't do what they should be doing. And then he shut up really quickly. And the mechanics are all kind of going, this is the master brake cylinder and this is what the problem is. Well, we had this long streak of piss, let's call him that. And he refused. He said, there's nothing wrong with the master brake cylinder. It's not going to fail on you. You're fine to drive. And then he proceeded to take us out for a test drive with me in the front. And drove to some of the hilliest bits of Hobart. Sorry? No, I was in the car when he drove us. The last occasion. No. He didn't head check, didn't drive in a defensive manner whatsoever. He drove these hills with very little care and heavy braking and everything else. He did an even worse job with my husband, apparently, when he went to test the brakes. The mechanic was good, he said, but how they were testing the brakes is not how you test the issue with the master brake cylinder seals. So this guy in the service centre that I brought the car to on Friday seemed to know what he was talking about, and he was kind of going, no, that's not how you test it, and here's some reassurance at least. If you're in a catastrophic situation where you need heavy braking, the cup will actually force the brake fluid down and you will brake. He said it's the slow, steady kind of leak of the seals that's the issue. And there you're kind of hoping that the actual seal doesn't, you know, deteriorate and suddenly go kaboom. So yeah, at least we had that reassurance that he acknowledged what the issue was, and that's fine. Either way, we're not replacing it now. We just want to get rid of the damn thing. And I think because of the way we were treated by the official service centre, we ended up opting for purchasing a new car. So we've got a new car, it's ordered, we've now been told the build has been ordered and our car is actually being built. Oh my god, I've never had a car actually built for my order. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, whose world am I living in? So yeah, we're getting a brand new car with nothing to do with this service centre or anything else, and we can't wait to see the back of Norbert. He has been a pain in my backside. Like, I had the car 2 months, I think, before I met my husband, and I think that might have been the first issue, or not. Can't recall. I had an issue. Emergency lights came on or something, and they wouldn't go off, and then the brakes failed. Not the brakes, the reverse failed. Then something else went tits up, and something else. And I was just like, it was me and the service centre for ages bringing the car back. And then they changed service centres because, I don't know, the group got amalgamated or something, and they stopped servicing my car in one location and they started servicing it in another, and then as a backup there was another one, and jeez, yeah, it was a pain. So as much as I love the comfort and ride of the Jeep, this Jeep has been a rock around my neck. It was a novated lease because at the time of separation I actually couldn't afford. I knew I couldn't budget petrol, servicing, tires, all of that kind of, you know, massive expense. Oops, see, this is why I do it on the tray. Massive expense in one hit. So I went for a novated lease, and yeah, it's been an expensive option. So when the brakes started failing, and when the wheels started falling off because the sensor would start, I don't know what the hell it was doing, the mechanic eventually fobbed us off saying, I think it's your Bluetooth. Saying that the Bluetooth that we had the car connecting the phones with was doing something that was interfering with the sensors on the car. Because what would happen was we would drive to work every single day. We'd take the exact same route, and at the exact same point in time, the car wheels would fall off. 1, 2, 3. The sensors would just go beep beep, and we'd get a line instead of an actual reading, and it was just like, this is ridiculous. So the first time I think we panicked. The second time it was like, you know, this is ridiculous. And after that we just got a bit blasé about it and went, oh yeah, there go the wheels. You know, but they couldn't figure out what was causing the issue. And eventually it was just like, yeah, I think it's your Bluetooth. It's like, don't think so. Yeah, so we've had the Bluetooth for ages beforehand, and we had the Bluetooth, we disconnected it for a bit, and granted I don't think the wheels fell off quite as often when the Bluetooth wasn't connected, but we had the Bluetooth reconnected and the wheels didn't fall off. Yeah, it was stupid. It was a rock show. And then there was having to see my credit just fall out of my account because it was back and forth with expensive issues and things, and then they wouldn't warranty their work and fix something, and yeah, it was a real pain in the behind. So quite glad to see the back of them. My husband has already left a shitty Google review. Oh, twice now on the site. When I'm actually done with them, I probably will leave a Google review myself as well. Apparently I've got 14,000 likes on my reviews, something like that. Google keeps telling me. It's kind of like, ooh, people like your reviews. So I've got to do a review of this crowd that gave me the car for the weekend. They gave me a Saab 93. It's a sedan. I don't know what year it is. I should actually just look up the rego. But it's a Saab 93 or a Saab-93. I don't 9-3, 9.3. I don't know. Either way, it's got leather seats. They're cream. Absolutely terrible. There's a couple of chunks somebody's taken out of the corner, because how can you not drive a sedan? Anyway. Yeah, so we're in a Saab. Oh, and yeah, I got into the car, and the far out, he actually was, I was signing the paperwork, and he sent the lackey chick to go and get me the replacement car. I think she's Greek. Anyway, she goes and she gets the car, and she does what looks to be a catastrophic 15-point turn to reverse the car. She couldn't get it into the car parking space. And he goes, "Can you take her license off her? Can you watch her driving or something and take her license off her?" And I said, "No, I've seen enough. I'd take it off her already." She was appalling. Anyway, apparently there was a warning light on in the car. It needed to be a service warning light to be reset or something. So I got into the car. It's got this key that's not really a key. It's like the top end of your key fob that locks into some weird mechanism in the center of the seats. And you turn it to off, then on, then start. So you keep turning it to turn it to actually ignition. Yeah, so the keys had already been sitting in the ignition, I suppose, for want of better terminology. And the service warning light was on saying traction control was off. So it was absolutely pouring down this afternoon on Friday. And I went out, I parked the car just to try and, get familiar with lights, everything else. And that kind of thing, and send a message to my husband saying I'm on my way home and I'm in a Saab, and start driving, and unfamiliar car. It's just like, okay, it's a sedan, it's small, it's not very wide, it's really weird kind of orientation. The seat wasn't in quite the sweet spot that it needed to be in, all of that kind of thing. And I'm kind of going, okay, drive, just get going. So I leave the front of the service center, and the next turn is a turn to the right, and the next road then to the right is a steep uphill, a very steep uphill. Well, I get onto this hill, and there's a car behind me, and I put my foot down like I would to drive up the hill, and the car is going, hell no, not in a hell-town basket, and it starts screaming its tits off, and then starts skidding. Front wheel, everything, fishtailing back end, and it's like, oh shit! Losing power trying to get up this steep hill, and I'm kind of thinking we're going to be going backwards in a few seconds. Oh my god. Anyway, get up the top of this hill, still skidding out. My ESP has switched itself off. The traction control has switched itself off. The dash is all these lights, and I'm going, oh fuck, oh fuck. Get up the top, and park and ring the service guy and say, look, this is what's happened. What do I do? Do I bring it back? You know, you had the service light on before I left. Do I need to bring it back to you? And he goes, no, 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 just switch it off. Give it 10 seconds, switch it off, make sure you're on level ground when you do it, and it'll reset itself. I'm going, well, okay, if you think so. So I do that, and turn everything off. Like, the key is pulled out, and I figure out that it's a very interesting little drill. It's just a blob. Turn everything off. I think I pulled the key out of the ignition kind of thing as well, and that's where I found that it was really weird. And restarted the car. ESP goes off, and the traction control and all the lights go off, and it's all pretty and normal looking dash. I was like, oh, thank God. So I've got another big mother of a hill coming up, and it was just like, oh shit. When I got onto that, it was like, and there was one brief moment on that hill because it was very, very wet. It was probably aquaplaning. You know, it's been that long since a rain in Hobart. So there was a little bit of the traction control warning light flashed on briefly, but then it went off again, and the ESP stayed on this time, and there was no fishtailing, and there was no stupidity, and the car just behaved itself. Eek. I'm gonna try squeezing that in, but that is very much squeeze. Alright.
Get one from Y going so you can get used to this, driving up this hill in the winter.
Yeah.
Where it takes you 3 or 4 goes just to get halfway up.
That's a bit scary. Yeah, he's talking about his grandmother's buzz box that's got no weight behind it and no engine power and skinny little wheels, and yeah, give me a 4-wheel drive any day. Yeah. Anyway, got up this big hill, no incident, and then drove the rest of the way home, and I was fine. Very little incident other than that. Thank goodness. Alright, I'm gonna need some bags now, because these are getting into the big lot, and this is when I need my reserves. And of course, I've done a whole heap of unboxings and left all the spare bags over in... more than that. Over in the other kit. They're too small. Some of those are too small, but these ones are more the right size. I actually bought these bags by the 100, I think, off Ali, because you can never really have enough Ziploc bags. Alright, just to keep my desk area clean, I may need to go back for more, but we'll see how we go. Alright, 3607. Try and make sure I don't have that dyslexic moment. Right, so yeah, car debacles have been interesting. I will keep this, and then I will put this in this, which will seal up. And with some of these with the double bags, I don't know if there's any double bags in this. That goes into my master bag, and then that goes there. See? Alright. Sophie's had a weird day today. She fell asleep in the room with the TV because we're sick of, we had Octonauts going all day yesterday to okay, hang on. Yep. We had Octonauts going all day yesterday, so all, I don't know, 39 videos. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to listen to Octonauts again today. I want to do some recording and all of that kind of thing. So we had the movie on, the TV on in the room and she's tucking herself into the doona and she's got her bunny in the bed with her and she honks out at lunchtime. I'm thinking, oh God, so she hasn't eaten lunch. When she wakes up, she is the biggest cranky pants. And it's like, what in the hell? So she just wanted cuddles. She wanted a fruit pouch and wouldn't have the pizza. Like, she spat the dummy with anything other than the fruit pouch. She just wanted it her way and no other way. And she just wouldn't settle. And eventually it's like, well, go to bed then. And she gets up and she starts toddling off. She turns around and looks for the responsible adult that's going to go and tuck her into bed. And my husband turns around and goes, "Do you want me?" And she turns around and starts walking into the bed. And he's just kind of going, "What the?" And tucks her into bed. And she's gone again, straight back asleep. She hasn't got a temperature or anything. She's not sick. She hasn't, you know, vomited or anything like that. So out of character for her. And I'm kind of going, now, is she actually gonna sleep tonight? So yes, we'll wait and see what's gonna happen later with that one. So yeah, this could be an interesting night. Maybe a good reason to have a bank holiday weekend. Alright. Yeah, what did I do last weekend? I think I brought Mocha out to the back garden. He tried jumping up onto a workbench that's next to the fence, and I think the kid thought he was going to jump out the garden and hit the neighbour's yard, which probably wouldn't have been... It wouldn't have been an issue in that he can't get over their fences, but it may have been an issue in that he would have got all excited about their ducks and chickens. So I don't think he would have killed them, but he would have chased, and he certainly gets a bit snotty with other dogs these days. Thank you very much. I had him out for a walk. I can't trust him off lead because he's a beagle and he follows his nose and shuts his ears off. So I can't let him go off lead and trust that he'll actually stay with me. And when he's then on lead walking next to me, he's got quite snarky to other dogs walking past, to the point where it's kind of like, no, I don't actually trust you with the little kid holding on your lead. Yeah, so she didn't get to walk him either. But at least he's only, actually I don't know what kind of weight he is, but at least he's not a huge dog. Unlike the retriever. He's a big dog. Or was a big dog, yeah. Is that 550? So there's 2 lots of 550. Half of this bag. Half of this bag and all of this one. They should both fit in okay. If I fold that down, they should both fit. What else has been going on? Yeah, my daughter's turning 20 next weck. She got back to me today saying, "Hey, I can meet you on whatever day," and I had to say, no, can't, gotta work. If I don't have a particular commitment, I can get free, but on this particular day, it's like, no, I can't, and I've got prep to do for it. Yeah, she was asking about meeting in the morning, so, yeah, she hasn't got back to me with another day. The problem is that her dad, my ex, will compete almost. So then she's caught in the middle and I'm kind of left on the sidelines, and yeah, it's a bit disheartening. Anyway.
Well, I'd like to print something with the rainbow filament. A rainbow element in the big one.
Oh, right. I don't think it would give enough of the colour range. It wouldn't be, it would have to be huge. We've printed a vase in rainbow filament. Here. That way around. So you can see it's kind of yellowed down here and it's pinky up there. And then there's this monster, which is purple on the bottom, through to the green, yellow, and then pink. Here, that way. So it's really, really cool. This one's really, really sturdy. This one is a bit more subtle in its colour change. But, yeah, I don't think she'd be too into that. There's another one with two. Sorry?
It's worth that much to you.
No, well, it's your printing time more than anything.
Roll.
I don't know. She said she's done Trixie. She's still picking up diamonds from all over the floor that escaped into the carpet. So I had a bit of a chuckle with that. But she didn't want another one for her birthday. So she has asked me for an AeroPress, which is a particular coffee plunger kind of. I know. So I've got one for her. I've got one for her.
In addition to the one you've already got.
And yeah, she'll get an AeroPress for her birthday from me. That's what she's asked for. My dad emailed this morning with the, you know, oh, you haven't been in touch for ages, you haven't told us any news. And it's kind of like, well, it's neither of you, you know. I don't know if you're still alive or what you're doing over there, kicking around with your Irish lockdown that's lifting or not lifting. He said it was lifting. I get given out to because I don't keep in touch. And I'm kind of thinking, well, family doesn't keep in touch with me either. It's a two-way street too.
Did you tell him about the car?
No, I didn't tell him about the car. I think my brother, his birthday's in June. I think it's on the 13th. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get in touch with him. He was the one who sided with my ex, and I think then realised the error of his ways. But I'm sure my ex is still in touch with him. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be coming up to the wedding or what the story is with that. With my son when he gets married in October. He might get invited for that. Which would be nice to see. I mean, yeah, I used to always get on with him, but when he stabbed me in the back, yeah. He believed the stories. I think that's the issue. He believed the lies my ex was spinning, and I don't know. I just feel completely powerless to fight it. And my husband has seen it, and I think initially you didn't believe that it was as bad as I said, but then he saw it in action, and it was like, holy crap, how did you survive? So yeah,
For me to be the only one defending you, yes.
Yeah, he was the only one defending me. My kids were not defending me. Whole other story. Don't know that I want to go into it. Yeah. And then his new wife gets called grandmother, and I get shafted. Or I don't know what she's getting called, to be honest, but she gets to see the grandkids. I don't know if she's accepted or if she's, you know, being told, or my ex is being told, don't bring her around, she's not family, or what the hell they've done. They would have the balls to actually say that, my kid. You know, I don't know. It's all kinds of fucked up. And I'm missing out. Anyway. It's shit. It's really shit. Stop it. Oops. Ooh. I don't know if that was a 3... No, it's not a 340. I think that's a 550. No. Not a 550. Too many purple shades. Anyway, it'll do. There's an awful lot of purple shades in this. Do you remember, if you have watched my unboxing of this, the purples just kept coming and coming and coming. I've never seen so many purples all in one kit. It was just amazing. That is 8.5. Alright. This is the first... Oh, it's not up to the top. There we go. This is the first weekend we haven't had Step Kid with us for ages. So we're all out of routine. Sundays we usually have a roast. The roast needs to get taken out of the freezer on a Friday night because we freeze pretty much everything. And the roast wasn't taken out. I wasn't really into having a roast dinner, to be honest. And because of that, our routine is all out of whack today too. And my husband goes, okay, our routine is all out of whack, you're on dinner. So as soon as I'm finished here, I'm going to be going and making dinner. So, yeah. I think it's going to be something to do with steak. I don't know what is going to be with the steak. But steak has been removed from the freezer. It's sitting in a cold water sink, defrosting. Well, I think my husband rescued it because the sink leaks. Anyway, it's been put back in water to defrost it because we vacuum seal the meat in vacuum bags, special vacuum bags, so they're leak proof essentially, hopefully. Sometimes they leak, but yeah, apparently it's a CSIRO approved defrosting method. I don't know. Anyway, the steak is in the sink defrosting. It takes roughly an hour, which is the length of time this is going to be, and then I'm going to get up. I'm going to take the steak out of the sink, probably get the washing up done beforehand because there's a heap there, and then I will get dinner started. Sophie has a lamb chop if she wakes up, and I might just do mash. It's not a roast. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and pretend that it's a roast. And I will probably do the steak on our sandwich press. We
picture of the roast. Look at the picture and
brain fart. Yeah, we've got a sandwich press for toasted sandwich maker. Sandwich press. It's flat sides, as opposed to the George Foreman drip grill that you can get, which has the bars that give you the free-flowing thing. So I think I'll use that. It works really well for cooking burgers because you've got the double-sided heat source, and I will cook the steak in that because it gets up to bloody hot really quickly, and we'll just give them that nice sear. And will take next to no time to actually do. And yeah, that will be the dinner. And the vegetables get put into the steamer. And yeah, we haven't got chipping potatoes. We've only got mashing and roasting potatoes. So it will be mashed, probably, and that's it. That's dinner. I may do a sauce. I love a mushroom sauce. But yeah, here we go. Now, I think I'm going to do this the other way around this time. I think I'm going to do this from the top down. I saw... I had some weird dreams. I had a dream about my nail of all weird things. Anyway, yeah. I think what I'll do, instead of having this bit draping with drills on it, I think I will drape it. Well, not even drape it, and roll it up and get a toilet roll or two. I know, I have a stash. Actually, the work ones are these white ones, and they're thicker in cardboard than the brown domestic ones, and so they don't unravel quite so quickly like these, because these are just, you know, I don't know what the difference is, other than the thickness in cardboard that they use. But yeah, that will compact enough just to keep it constrained that little bit. Alright, so that gives a light compression on that. It could actually go up a little bit tighter, but it'll do for now. Alright, we'll get these back and I'll get some drills on, because I haven't played with a DAC square. So what am I after? I'm after F, the pill, 550, hang on, 550, so that's 13. F is 25. Till I get familiar with these, it's going to be a little bit of time. 2 dots is 820, which is 24. 4 is 5, because that's not confusing. And hourglass is 35. And a V and an L. V is 21 and L is 26. Have I got the right L though? Hang on. L is 26, yeah, it's red. And a down arrow is 27. 27. Four. 4 is, oh no, that's figure 4. Gosh, that's confusing. Okay. I think that's got me kind of in the top corner. So I'm going to roll this up even tighter. As in, have less of a thing going on up there. Now this is what I don't particularly like with the clear covers. I kind of like the clear cover. I've worked on it, and when you can throw it all out of the way, it's fine. But when you're just working with a little bit, it's like, don't really like that. Now, I don't know if you can tell. Oh, there you can. Right, you see this line here and this line here. It's where the print, hang on, let me get it again. There and there. It's where the print, where the glue is laid down, and when the screen is lifted, and then it doesn't meet the canvas because there's a ripple in the canvas in the clear cover. You end up with these funky lines. So it's not an issue, and it's not a river. It just means that the glue here isn't pretty and glossy, that's all. Alright. We will go for some of these outliers. This is a RachelRaeCraft pen. Let's see how these are very light and yeah, I've got one. Anyway, this is the down arrow. I think there's only one of these. I'm going to put the light pad on. Sorry. Let my light adjust. I think there was only one. Oh, there's another one there. This could be because my wax is a little bit, well, this isn't wax, sorry, it's blue tack, but that blue tack could be a little bit dirty, and because these drills are very, very light, it's not quite sticking, because the drills haven't settled into the jar, so they float. It's kind of like quicksand. Now, that's not straight, but we'll get it there. Oh, I love poured wax. Not poured wax, poured glue. 27. Alright, what else have we got a few of? Well, we've actually got a few of the pill. The pill is what I'm calling this. Where's my Yogi Bob? There. That's what I call the pill. It's just a diagonal block in whatever background colour. So that's the colour I'm doing. Actually, I'm going to do more than that. If I was doing this kit sideways, I would actually orientate that to the orientation of the kit, because that's particularly useful when it comes to things like the arrows. With DAC, I find that they use the right arrow and the left arrow in quite a few of their kits. I haven't looked to see if they've got both arrows in this one. But I'm hoping this is going to be my fun kit to do. Now, I had a trick that I was doing with my round drills. It's not going to work with the same technique with the square. Okay, interesting to know. Diagonals don't work with squares. Too tricky. Yeah, that was a bad idea. But it is something that I know works with the round, and I will show you the next time I can rig up my cameras. If I can think of it, I might do it even tomorrow, because it's a how-to technique kit. Yeah, the round drills certainly go a heck of a lot quicker, but I'm liking how the squares are going down, and they're good. They don't have bits and pieces, or at least I'm not seeing bits and pieces on these drills so far. So that's another good thing. I saw someone on Facebook had a chunk of drills. They were actually a light colour drill as well, I think. It was a pale blue. But they had a chunk of drills that had never been broken apart. So they were joined up like you might get ice cubes infrequently spilling over the top of the icebox and joining up like one. This might actually need a bigger multi-head to do this as well as I can. Will that work? I unboxed Plan of Salvation on this morning's video that I recorded, and I was thinking of doing that one as my square. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it didn't come with an inventory, and I'm kind of going, oh damn it, that means I've got to go photocopy it, and I just did not have the wherewithal to go and get in the car and find a colour photocopier to get the colour copy done. so that I could actually do Plan of Salvation. Plan of Salvation, if you're not familiar with it, is a JoJo's Art, and it's basically a map of the galaxy kind of thing from a weirdly artistic view, because you can't see the planets that close to each other basically. But it's really, really cool. There's so much 310, so much 939 and 823. It's crazy. But the colours of the planets are just incredible, so the colour pops would have been amazing. And it was huge. It was a 52 by 74. And I'm kind of thinking, oh yeah, that'd be really cool. And it was like, there's no inventory. I can't, if I start it, that means it's going to be harder to photocopy. So I've put it in storage and I'm not doing it.
How big is it?
It's 52 by 74.
Gee, would that be enough to cover the router cupboard door in the computer room?
Oh, I've got a million things that could cover the router cupboard door.
Yes.
Yeah, I would sit and work with that on the cupboard door, yes. At the moment he's got some chick on a saddle that somebody gave him. That he, yeah, anyway, he wants me to start, my husband, this is the he wants me to start doing my production and stuff downstairs in a room that I can actually have peace and quiet in and everything else, and have everything kitted out and camera tricked and all that kind of stuff.
Insulated and sounded.
Yeah, have it all kind of professional and snazzy looking. And yeah, he would like the busty kind of blonde concealed.
Quite a bit of paint over it.
He said he'd paint over it anyway.
But
that's not the point. So yes, he just asked if I could put a diamond painting over the door. And I said, yeah, I probably could. No, it's the wrong orientation. It's a landscape. You need a profile. Portrait, that one.
Okay.
So I'll need to get a big... I could put my owl. I also unboxed Time.
I have to make my own diamond painting from scratch.
Yes, you're going to have to make your own diamond painting. Oh God. Print his own diamonds. That's a laugh.
Oh. Challenge accepted.
Oh dear. Oh, I found 2 new down arrows. Down arrow, down arrow, down arrow.
Diamond painting of a naked woman sitting on a saddle.
I think the whole point is not to have it as a naked woman on a saddle.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Just a saddle.
Whatever gets your rocks off, dear.
Well, if you prefer the naked woman there, that's fine.
Anyway. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, I'll get it photocopied. I'm probably going to forget that it needs photocopying. I used to keep them aside, and then I think I had too many coming in at once. And yeah, I'll get there. I just wanted to get started on a square. Oop, one more. Now these are the kind of outliers that I'm after. Now what I found with squares, if they go a bit wonky, you don't just turn them to line up the square, you kind of turn them a little bit past it and then they come back. And that way they kind of nestle into proper place. It's a bit like how I learned how to steer a boat. you kind of oversteer, and then as it starts to turn, you steer back again, and by the time it's back, you're heading in the point that you're meant to be heading in. That's the theory. And if you're really bad at it, you end up with a wake behind you that's wheeling all over the place. Okay, they're moving a bit. They're a little bit mobile, these drills. We'll go with F. I think, no, what have I got? I've got V, F, and 2 dots. Now we'll go with some of the V's. They're a little bit scattered, so I'm just going to stick with a single for now. So yeah, it's a 4-day week this week, but we actually have a plain clothes day coming up, where we can go in our street clothes as opposed to our office clothes. And I think they were looking at handing out files for us all to get sorted out. I think I've not got enough files of my own to get sorted out, thanks very much. And then they were looking at going out for lunch on Friday as an office, seeing as we've now lifted the COVID restrictions. Not sure how that is going to work, because anything I can think of is all going to be very shoulder to shoulder. And even though they kind of say you can have 10, I think, sit down in the restaurant, I don't think they intend the 10 to be shoulder to shoulder, even if you do work in the same office. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very conflicted by the instructions that were supposed to be given, and then the office following the instructions. Yeah, it just messes with your head a little bit. That's all. Well, like, you think you're doing the right thing, and then, you know, you see the boss sitting with somebody else and they're shoulder to shoulder, and it's like, ah! And that was when, you know, we didn't know where the hell COVID was. Now we've actually got down to 3 cases in the state, so we could, and 2 of those were allegedly in hospital. I'm not sure if there was 4 with 2 in hospital. I'm not sure if the one that got healed and has given negative testing has been one in the hospital or not. So either way, there's 3 on the last count that were waiting to get better. No new cases for 21 days now, which is incredible. Yeah, it's just a bit of a waiting game, I suppose, for those 3 to heal, and then I guess the government needs to make some more decisions going, okay, we have no new cases, we have no cases in the state, and we have, so do we lift all in-state restrictions, and is it business as usual within the state, and is it just the people coming in that we then come down like the hellish ton of bricks that needs to come down on them, saying you must self-quarantine for 2 weeks and blah 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 blah? Or are there going to be people coming into the state who just go, fuck that, and disregard it? Or what's going to happen? So it's going to be interesting what the government decide next, when we kind of have the state what could be deemed as being COVID free. Being an island, we're very lucky that we can actually get to this standard. I think in New South Wales, no, Victoria I think is still getting cases, but nearly every other state in Australia is still getting no cases. So something is working, although now that we've had protests this weekend, there might be a big spike, and people are kind of saying there was no social distancing and people were really stupid. Good on you for lifting the restrictions, people, and the police, you know, doing whatever they were doing and all of that kind of carry on. So people are a little bit worried about what's going to happen with that, and that's going to actually take 2 weeks really to pay out. Although it shouldn't, because they because of how contagious COVID seems to be, it's like if somebody went to these rallies with COVID, they would start to show symptoms fairly quickly. They're getting on top of the testing pretty quickly as well now. They're getting the results back within a couple of days. Particularly the negatives are taking maybe a bit longer than the positives, but the positives are getting churned out really quickly. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the fallout of the protests are going to be worldwide, I suppose. I didn't read the full article, but I did see that apparently China and Russia are now kind of laughing at Trump, apparently, for him, something about it being an unruly parent, or parent of unruly teenagers, I think is what they're comparing him to now. You know, he said he would, I don't know, give everyone timeouts, and, you know, they're kind of going, ha ha ha, now look at you. I don't know, I didn't read the article, it was like, your propaganda kind of crap. But, yes, there's a little bit of international scorn, I think, going on. So hopefully it doesn't cause this massive second wave that they're anticipating is going to be coming. Because that's just going to mean this extended clampdown. I don't know how New Zealand's going. New Zealand did pretty well with its first wave. Locked down and everything else, and then it started releasing things, and then they were talking about having these international flight bubbles. And letting Tasmanians fly to New Zealand. I'm not quite sure why they would be, but anyway, maybe there's business people.
Except for Queensland.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. What's happening? I've stopped watching the daily news reports, if there have been daily news reports. Maybe they haven't been daily anymore, and that's why I haven't noticed them. But do still get the update saying, hey, there's been, you know, however many days COVID-free testing, positives, things happening. So yeah, that's about as far as I get now. Kind of desensitized, I suppose, to everything else. I have noticed a few people are kind of saying that they worry with the squares and putting them down. Please don't. Good squares will do what they need to do, and checkerboarding really is the way to go if you are in any way worried. I am noticing a couple of tiny tabs on these drills on one side, but they don't seem to be causing much of an issue quite yet. I think that might be the last V. No, I need another two. Yeah, it'll do. Ooh. There is a big long shard of plastic. It wouldn't have got out in a sieve. Would have got caught. And now then. This is a 3. I'm going to go for a 7. Going to just flatten my blow tack refresh it almost. Push it in off the sides. Oh, tomorrow, which will actually be, you know, a couple of days ago when you see this. Tomorrow I'm meeting up with my Tasmanian swap partner, and we're having a cuppa and a cake, or maybe even lunch, and swapping diamond paintings. I got her an awesome piece of art, I hope, that she likes. I think it's something she would like. It's not something I personally like, but I saw it and immediately thought of her. And I should actually send her a message and saying, don't forget the book, because she's written a book and I love her writing. It's really, really cool. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it's like having an author signed copy of a book. It's all kinds of cool. So that's what's going to be happening tomorrow on my day off. That's a bit of fun. Oh yeah, and I'm driving the Saab up there. Be interesting. Yeah, it's a nice little town. She was the one who put me onto the adult dot-to-dots that I use in my Frivolous Friday videos. Yeah, they're really, really cool. I'm probably 2/3 of the way through one book. I have a second book, so just puddling along, taking my time. There's absolutely no rush. And well, we'll see what happens when they go, if Frivolous Friday is even still going by then. I kind of like having the series. I don't know how you guys feel with it being that it's dot to dot. Does it make any difference? You know, they're just little 10 to 20 minute. I think the longest one I did was half an hour for some reason. I mean, it was just a very long and protracted dot to dot. They're just some fairly light facts, although it did get a little bit heavy last week with facts about haunted houses, and yeah, some of it was a bit kind of gruesome. I was like, yike! Okay, changing the topic. So I went on and did some facts about gravesides, or graves, cemeteries. That's the one. Yeah, and it was facts. It wasn't, you know, supposed to be overly creepy or anything like that. It was, you know, why did they use this, and what stones were used in headstones, and, you know, different income streams used different headstones. So, you know, the rich used granite and marble, and the poor used wood or nothing. That kind of scenario. So that's right. It's decided to go for a walk on its own. So yeah, interesting things like that. So, and then the one before that was Irish facts, and there was ones before that was gecko facts, and you know, they're all sorts. They're funny, weird, odd. The last few dot to dots have actually dictated the subject matter. So I did the gecko facts because it was a gecko dot to dot. I did Irish facts because it was actually an Irish blackwork that I was stitching, and I really wanted to just, you know, show off the Irish blackwork pattern from Peppermint Purple. So that's why that got used. But I've just noticed the time, and I'm going to have to wrap it up because dinner, and it's already too late. but I will let you go in just a second. And see how these are going. Typical with squares though, and I guess typical with poured glue, is that they're moving a little, but they do lock in and behave themselves when they get their buddies around them. So hopefully they won't drift too far. Now because this is poured glue, they actually kind of shuffle into place much better than the obnoxious ones in my taped glue do. They really don't like just shoving in and behaving themselves together. It's almost like they just don't want to party, whereas these are kind of going, yeah, we'll just make room and that kind of thing. So yeah, they're nice to work with. You get that odd click as I'm going in with effectively a checkerboard method with multi-placing. You can multi-place checkerboard. You just put down, when you've got color blocking, you just put down a big chunk and then you leave a gap and then you put down another big chunk and you start filling in those chunks, and yeah, there you go. You checkerboarding. So just takes a bit of practice to line them up. Sometimes they don't like lining up, but you get there. Practice, practice, practice. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And as I said, they don't need to be spot on perfect. I know there are a few people who kind of say, oh no, I've got OC or whatever, or OCD even, and it's all got to line up. These gaps that I can see, and you can see some of them, you know, you give them a bit of a shove and they will get out of the way and they will, you know, shuffle in, and you turn off your light pad and you don't stand nose to drill when you're looking at it, because that's not how you look at pixelated pictures. You look at pixelated pictures from afar. And that's basically what these are. These are pixelated pictures, and you're not supposed to be that close. You go up close if you want to see the technique. You go up close to an artist if you want to see the brush strokes or something like that, but that's not how you're actually meant to view the image as a whole. So take a step back, look at it through your camera, and it will make much more sense to you as well. I did see somebody post a picture up of what they thought was supposed to be a cat, and I still couldn't make out a cat when they outlined where the cat was meant to be. I kind of figured where it was meant to be, but it was so terrible. It was just too small for the detail. I think that's what initially put me off, was that there were people believing some of the crap that the Ali sellers were giving, saying, oh, this is the perfect size for your painting, and it's like, no, it's really not. You're just after money. Whereas someone like DAC, Treasure Studios, DIY Moonshop, they will sell the paintings for the size that it needs to be, and they won't sell for a size that's not going to work. So I really appreciate that in some of the sellers, and I wish Ali in general would do that, but hey, scruples and all that kind of thing. Right. Nearly there. Alright, so what is in store this week? This week you should have had the Monday series, Who You Say I Am, and then you will have had the colouring book from Ferlazzo, I think his name is. Australian and American animals and part of a wildlife charity kind of support. That is going to be part of my 1,000 sub giveaway for people who are into colouring that might follow me, and you're going to be winning 1 or 2 of those books. What else is there? Then Wednesday is this video, and then Thursday is an unboxing from DAC, I can't recall which one. And then Friday will be a frivolous fact. Yet to be determined what those facts will be. Usually because that gets filmed on a Thursday. And then I record the dot to dot first, and then I come up with the facts to do with the picture. That's how I've been doing it more recently. In the beginning it was just whatever facts I kind of figured I could come up with. You may or may not get links. I do try and credit where credit is due, because some of the websites are really good, and yes, they are definitely worth sharing those links. I don't try and just steal for the sake of stealing. And then, well, next week it's the same kind of routine, and then we start all over again. Oh, come on. Except for the roast. Oh, with a roast, or having a roast next week. Dear. We actually had takeaway on Friday. We never do takeaway. It's like, oh my god. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, decadent for the first time in 5 years, he said. He chose where we ended up going, and it was yummy. Sophie and I had dumplings and shared a bit of the, well, she didn't share the rice so much, but she certainly enjoyed the dumplings. We have a few of those downstairs, so might even dig them out for a meal during the week. Yeah, he had a $30 voucher, so we were using Uber Eats for the first time. And we had a $30 voucher. I don't know how he got this $30 voucher, because I've never used Uber Eats, and I didn't get a $30 voucher for signing up. So, anyway. We used his voucher, so we effectively paid $13 for $8 of delivery and $5 over the 35. It was, you needed to spend $35 to get a free fried rice. So we spent $5 that we weren't given in the freebie from Uber, and then we spent $8 on the delivery. But it was yummy. The dumplings are gorgeous in there. And we had a mix. There was prawn, pork, chicken, I think was what we had, and some spring rolls, and Sophie dove into those. Not a problem. Whereas other food she can be really picky with. It was really interesting seeing what she went for. And she didn't really go for the rice. And didn't go for his chicken dish, but his, what was it? Chicken and cashews. Gorgeous. Yes, but it was just like the one meal between the three of us. It was really nice. I enjoyed it. Okay, Sophie's awake. Alright, I'm going to leave that little corner. I'll get those finished later. And maybe even put a picture in. But look, I don't know if you're going to quite see it. But look at that shimmer of the drills. Oh, wow. That's very blingy. Okay, I will leave you to it. It's long enough. And thank you very much for joining me. I really am thrilled in awe that I have people who actually listen to me prattle on.
No.
Hang on, turn around. Turn. Say
Look.
hi. Say hi.
Look.
Are you going to say hi?
Look.
No. Say hi? No? No. Flopsy going to say hi? Flopsy going to say hi? Hey, Flopsy. Hello. Oh, I don't know. Ashley, if you're ever watching, I don't know. You were asking what Flopsy was. This is Flopsy. He's a very flat bunny. He's basically just head and arms and ears. And, yeah. That's why it's called Flopsy, because he was a floppy, and you don't have a... Anyway. No, I want the other end sticking out so I know what the end is. Okay.
I'm gonna get mine.
You're going to go yours? Okay. No, I'm going to put them away. I'm going to go get dinner. Alright, I'm going to go. Bye for now. See you around on the tubes, and please, if you aren't already subscribed, please click like, subscribe, comment, drop me comments. You know I love my comments. I'm hopefully not saying things to insult anyone politically or stir up any hatred or anything else. So please take my prattling just as that. It's just prattling. And yeah, we just have different space, I suppose, in worlds and different backgrounds and things like that. Alright. Bye. See you all soon. You gonna say bye-bye? Bye.